Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Fatshark, the Byte Frost system or Shark Byte system. I haven't received it, but I'm also going to give you my thoughts and opinions on it and what I think they're doing with their whole system or how it's functioning. And also we're going to talk about there's some DJI rumors that they're going to be releasing some new components, probably a new HD module or a new goggle. So we'll just some rumors out there. So I really don't know exactly what they're planning to do with that. And also we're going to take a look at a couple new products, and also make sure you stay tuned because me, UavFutures, Stu from UavFutures, and Botgrinder might be live streaming some Warzone gameplay very soon together. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Stu's on board, waiting for Botgrinder, but I'm sure he'll be on board. So with that being said, let's get started here. So let's talk a little bit about the Shark Byte system. Now, I haven't received it, but I watched Joshua Bardwell's video, and I'll have it linked down below. Really great video, by the way. I wanted to see a couple things. I wanted to see the latency. I wanted to see the breakup, and because the breakup could kind of tell you what's going on in there, kind of, not really. And I'll explain what I mean in a little bit. And obviously the image quality. Now, for one, Fatshark did a really good job, in my opinion. And you might be like, well, why did they do a good job? What's so good about it? Well, a pretty consistent latency as far as we saw currently of anywhere between 16 milliseconds to 25 milliseconds, give or take a couple milliseconds here, which is acceptable actually. So it's better. Anything below 30 milliseconds and anything really under 25 milliseconds is really good. So that was something really nice that they were able to achieve. Now, another thing what's really interesting, actually, in my opinion, which might not be to most, is the breakup. So I just watched this video for like 30 minutes just looking at the breakup of this and seeing how it would break up, because I've worked in the IPTV industry. We've managed a bunch of hosts for ISPs, large events, and I used to be the main transcoding and the server manager, so I would kind of handle most of this stuff and create my own custom code and our own custom hardware, because off-the-shelf stuff wasn't good enough sometimes. So here what we see is it's kind of simulating something called a UDP connection, but it's not. It looks like they found a way to simulate an analog feed, because the breakup is really interesting here. Maybe I'm just hallucinating, or maybe the YouTube compression here, but it seems as if the lines or the breakup is happening in vertical lines or diagonal lines, and it could be a mix of both. And I find that pretty interesting for a couple reasons. They're somehow kind of maybe simulating an analog feed in a digital feed, which is really nice because breakup looks kind of nice, actually. I mean, look at that. It's acceptable, in my opinion, way better than the DJI. But it's very hard to know that if any of these frames actually froze, because he's just still in one static spot. I wish he would have had something in front of the camera that kept spinning, or just kind of some movement that was consistent, so we can see if it did freeze or it did not freeze. But maybe I should watch the full video. Maybe he covered that somewhere in the video, so I probably missed that. But I do like this. You can see the diagonal lines. Look at that. But I can't tell if it's it actually looks like diagonal lines, because you have the corner of the roof right here, but then you also have another diagonal line right here, which is completely cutting off everything. And you can kind of see those breakup diagonal lines right here. Now, I find that really interesting because I've never seen that before in breakup, and I've seen a lot of UDPs breakup, a lot of video feeds that are running off UDP breakup, and they don't look like this. They don't get these really staticky diagonal lines. I find that actually pretty interesting. They're onto something, that's for sure. You got to give them credit for that. That's really nice. Now, in terms of quality, I already knew it was going to be just probably a tiny bit better than a good analog signal, and that is to be expected. And the reason for that is because it's going to be very expensive to put a super powerful microcontrol unit or a CPU right behind the camera with the module. If you wanted to broadcast, 1080p 60 frames per second with low latency or 4K, you're going to need something like a Snapdragon chip that's found like in a Note 10 or a Note 9. And that's going to be pretty damn expensive to set up, and probably a bit more complicated and a bit more difficult. And you might as well just build an Android device. So in terms of what they were able to achieve with, I don't even know what processor they're using, probably an ARM processor in there that's able to take the raw sensor data from I think a runcam they're using, the runcam, and convert it back and transcode it or basically compress it and send it back to your goggles. Now, they can and they should be able to create a better image, but we might see that, I think, in another module where they beef up the CPU that's doing all the compression in the module. And you might still be able to keep the same amount of latency and possibly the same type of breakup we see here. But again, this is still all very new, but Fatshark did a really great job actually. But if, I think Bardwell also mentioned, if you're looking for that, oh my God, HD image, that's not going to be the one for you. And here what they're doing is, I think they're on the right track, because you're basically, it feels like you're getting an analog video over a digital signal. And you might get the extra benefits of the 2.4 gigahertz, which is basically penetration and range compared to 5.8 gigahertz. But the 5.8 gigahertz could handle much more bandwidth than a 2.4 gigahertz. And that's why our routers these days come 5.8 and 2.4 gigahertz. But obviously 2.4 has a bit better range, you get more penetration, and yeah, it's usually a little bit better. And the way you could think about it is, for example, if you hear a car down the street with a really good system in the car, you would be able to hear the bass more than the highs. So you hear that bass because it's a lower frequency, and lower frequencies tend to penetrate these walls much easier and objects much easier. And that's why when you go, the lower you go with the frequency, the more penetration you get. Theoretically, the more distance you also get as well. So it works in the same fashion as sound, because obviously they're frequencies. So I find Fatshark doing a great job. Just maybe if they improve the quality slightly more, probably be good. And hopefully I could get one, but I doubt I'll get one. That's I don't want one for review. I just really want one just to have a closer look at the hardwares and how it's running, and maybe just do some bando tests of me walking around, seeing what kind of range we could expect. So again, I don't think, if you're that HD guy who wants that like crisp, clear HD footage, while you're looking through it, I don't think the Fatshark's going to be for you currently, but it might change. But again, I just wanted to give my point of view here. Fatshark did an absolutely great job. So in other news, or really quick news, DJI is rumored to release a new goggle or a new module. I mean, it's to be expected, because the quality of the DJI module, in my opinion, not the goggle feed, but the one that records from the SD card that's inside the bigger module, where you put the SD card inside the quadcopter. In my opinion, the quality is nice, but it's not acceptable in terms of a YouTube video, in my opinion. I mean, from what I see, when I compare like a GoPro to even a Runcam Split 3, kind of actually looks better, a little bit better than the DJI's SD recorded image there. So again, what you see here is we know that DJI has really great cameras, but they also chose to go with a camera that's outputting less bandwidth or less data in order for them to fit some sort of a module that's going to also transcode and send over their proprietary wireless system. So maybe the new system will just have much more powerful microcontroller units that's going to be able to compress this much quicker, or compress more data much quicker and send it down the line. And I'm very excited to see what the future holds right now. But again, Fatshark did a great job, I think, and I think it's just going to get better from here. I think the first version is going to be okay in most people's eyes, and then maybe eventually over time it'll start catching up to the DJI, and they might make it more famous if they go the open source route, where other companies can also do the same kind of hardware. Then they might put DJI out, but maybe not as well. So time will tell. It's very early to say anything right now. So in other news, hopefully Botgrinder, I just emailed him. Me, Stu from UavFutures, and Botgrinder might be having a live stream together soon, where we possibly play some Warzone and chat with you guys and just have a great time. So I'm very excited actually, and very curious to see how it's going to end up. I think it's going to be pretty epic, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting as well. So now in other news, let's talk about AskFPV. There's going to be a huge update where I enable a tip system. If you don't know what AskFPV is, it's an application I've released to the public. It's on Android and iOS. If you have any questions FPV related, you go there, people answer you in like a matter of minutes. And if you can help people, go ahead and help them. I'm introducing a reward system. Not only that, in the new update, there's going to be a chat system and a tip system, which are going to be very useful. And later on, you'll see a news system where I'll have the companies come and post their latest stuff before it's been posted anywhere. We could keep track of what's really going on. And I also want to make a dedicated section for sales in there. So when a company has a sale, you'll know, like the direct, like Hollybro would have a sale, HGLRC, iFlight, whoever, they could go ahead and place it there and you'll be updated, whoever has a sale. And I'll be monitoring all these posts, make sure none of them are spammy or just annoying. Because at the end of the day, that application is all about the user's experience. And that's what I'm trying to do with that application. A lot of people are getting help and a lot of people are helping, and it's really nice to see it grow. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to mention here. So everything again is linked down below here. The Emax Ecos are really great motors, actually. Really great motors. We're going to see more flight footage of those upcoming very soon. Rush Blade, the Rush FPV is actually releasing a complete stack with their blade. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I was really surprised with the testing results of this ESC. And it has a couple really nice features. It's not really a feature, but it can be considered a feature. The heatsink is on both sides, but it's kind of like a protective layer. It's really nice, it's like armor. And I think that's how they marketed it. Yeah, the aluminum shell right here. It's really nice, actually. So the overall board stays cool, it stays protected, and it's different. And they seem like they really took their time trying to perfect it. But you need to be careful. Look, they're even also, I forgot to mention, they use 3 ounces of copper. So you have better current flow, less resistance, less heat also. The 96 kilohertz PWM update frequency might be causing issues because not the ESCs themselves, just the code isn't really fully ready to handle that just yet. However, BLHeli32 is releasing a new test software where you can actually change or have the PWM frequency of the ESC change at specific throttles. So that's going to be a pretty interesting thing that's happening. Not a lot of people might know about it, but when you play around with the PWM frequency, the PWM frequency of the ESC, you can actually push the noise around, and it's really interesting. Actually, I got to see that once on the oscilloscope, and I want to test the new software and play around with that and see what we could come up with and kind of give you guys real data to work from, or to give all of us actually a better idea of what's really going on and what might be an optimal setup if your ESC is noisy, or if you want the motors to stop quicker, and just stuff like that. So I'm currently in the progress of doing a video like that right now. So yeah, the Rush Blade ESCs are really great ESCs currently. Longevity use, have no idea, but in terms of noise and thrust testing and stress testing, they seem to be okay. But again, the 96 update, the 96K, if you have any issues with any ESCs, it's a software issue. It's not the company's issue, and that should be sorted out very soon, if not already. This I found was pretty interesting. The Maytech H7 system here, or the H7. This thing is insane. I mean, you have so many ports on this, and you even have SD card expansion. Is really crazy. Price is expensive, and that's to be kind of expected because this is not for your typical racer. This is for the guy who wants to put a ton of stuff connected to it. You can even run MPU 6000 ICM gyro. You have 2 megabytes of flash memory with the H7, which is really insane. I might, when I start next month again on the AI stuff, I might implement the H7 here, because that extra right there could actually give me my long short-term memory, or I'll be able to actually fit the AI with long short-term memory, because it was just, the file gets so big, the AI gets so big if I implement that, and that could solve so many problems, and you might see something pretty insane. Not only that, we get 7 UARTs, built-in inversion, obviously. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, H7s have built-in inversion, I guess, so it's like an F7 in a way. 13 PWM outputs, that's crazy. Plus LED pads. 13 PWM outputs. I think you could use these as motor outputs as well. Let's actually take a closer look here. And obviously you have your SD card expansion, USB Type-C, and I think it's right here. You can see, look at this, motors, so many motors, it's crazy. It's up to 12 motors right there. You can see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the LED right there. It's really crazy. I don't know how many of these you could actually use for a quadcopter, but if you're looking for something that's going to have more than 6 motors, then I think this is the guy for you. And it's compatible with quite a lot also. I mean, Matek products are really well made, and their support is insane, and they do everything in-house, by the way. So here you can see it comes, you could flash ArduPilot, Betaflight, and iNav. Oh, to be supported soon. Sorry about that. But they will definitely support iNav. When they say that, they really go for it. So you don't have to worry about buying it and all of a sudden they never really supported it. They will support it. And that's what's really nice about a Matek. Well, I always used to say, when in doubt, just buy a Matek. So Matek will usually handle it for you. And that's why they're not in the ESC business. They understand that it could be very complicated and it could damage their name. So they really just mostly stick to flight controllers. And back then they used to do the PDBs. This one right here, I got a couple friends using it and they're saying it's lasting very well and it's very good. Just wanted to point that out there. I still haven't really fully tested it yet, but I might put it on some sort of a scene whoop, 6S scene whoop, and just thrash it around and see how long it lasts. It is pretty expensive. It's a Crazy Bee type board, but if you're looking for the least amount of weight, this seems to be decent. But don't take my word for it, but this is what I've heard. I have not confirmed, but I just want to let you guys know. And, well, what else do we have? And well, that's really it. So everything's linked down below. If you could check those out, it's a great support channel. Download AskFPV, which is my application, and also download FPV-Link, which is a social media platform I've created just for FPV pilots to grow their following. There's a marketplace. There's all kinds of crazy cool stuff there. Go there, join us, small community, and it's constantly growing. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, and Patreon. I do a ton of giveaways, and every other day I go on Discord, voice chat with you guys. You guys come join me. We chit chat, we open links, we look at stuff, we talk, we discuss about things, and yeah, it's really fun there. And you get a lot of other perks also. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.